You aren't having a breakdown. You're having a breakout.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're sitting there right now listening to this and you're just feeling like your nervous system has been running on absolute fumes lately, there's a very specific reason for it.
Right. You're definitely not alone in that.
Yeah, because we've all been feeling that incredibly heavy, energetic lifting from the Scorpio full moon, which, let's be honest, felt like a literal excavation of all our deepest baggage.
It really did.
And then, right on the heels of that, we had the Taurus new moon on May 16th, which essentially asked us to take all that excavated dirt and, haul it across the yard.
Yeah, it's exhausting just thinking about it.
Exactly. But there is a massive cosmic shift approaching.
There is. And it's a highly concentrated window, too, because today we're doing a deep dive into a guide specifically outlining the Sagittarius blue moon,
Right.
which creates this really intense 8-event portal between May 29th and May 31st, 2026.
Yeah. And I want to be clear, the goal of this deep dive isn't to give you just like another astronomical checklist to merely survive the week.
No, not at all. The entire premise of our deep dive today is about the harvest.
Exactly. By understanding the spiritual and, well, the physical mechanics of these 3 days, you can use that knowledge as permission to actually surf this energy, instead of just letting the wave crash over your head.
Beautifully put. It's about navigating it consciously.
Okay, let's unpack this. We are dealing with a blue moon here, so we already know we're getting a double dose of lunar energy in May.
Right, the second full moon in a single calendar month.
Yeah, but the fact that it peaks at exactly 9 degrees and 56 minutes in Sagittarius is wild. This is happening at exactly 4:45 a.m. Eastern Time on May 31st.
It's very precise.
And we have this archetype of Sagittarius, right? The archer, the philosopher, like the ultimate seeker of truth and freedom. But the astronomical detail that completely changes the game for me is that this is a micro full moon.
Yes. Which is, honestly, such a deceptive phenomenon.
Oh, totally.
Because the moon is positioned at its farthest point from Earth right now. So it visually appears smaller and dimmer in the night sky.
Right, so you'd think it's weaker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The tendency is to look up, see the smaller moon, and just assume the energetic impact will be softer.
But it's not.
The reality is the exact opposite. A micromoon means the pressure cooker isn't external. You aren't necessarily going to see massive theatrical explosions in your outer world right away. The intense, fierce friction is happening deeply inside your own psyche.
Wow. It makes me think about the difference between a spotlight and a floodlight.
Oh, like that.
Yeah, like a regular full moon is like a theater spotlight. It brightly highlights the main stage, the obvious external dramas in your life, like a promotion, a big fight, a move, whatever.
The loud stuff.
Right. But this micro blue moon acts more like a floodlight. It diffuses that intense glare away from the center stage and brightly exposes all the shadowy corners,
Yeah.
the rafters, the neglected wings of the stage that you have been actively avoiding for months.
Taking that floodlight idea a step further, the reason it's exposing those specific shadows is because of a 6-month karmic cycle.
Okay, say more about that.
Well, this portal doesn't exist in a vacuum. It is intrinsically tethered to a seed you planted during the new moon in Sagittarius back on December 19th, 2025.
Wow, December.
Yeah. Think about what a seed actually does underground for 6 months. It doesn't just sit there doing nothing.
Right, it's working.
Breaks open, it struggles to the dark, it builds a root system. So you are now harvesting the absolute psychological truth of whatever intention or situation was seeded in your life last December.
So this seed has been relentlessly growing underground, building this massive root structure in the dark. And when it finally breaks the surface around May 29th or 30th, the guide indicates it starts as a profound mental breakout.
Yes, event 1.
Yeah, it's described as this sudden, undeniable clarity. That situation you've been agonizing over, like the job that doesn't fit, or the relationship dynamic you just can't figure out, suddenly it just clicks. You finally get what the guide calls the Sagittarius balcony view.
And balcony view is a perfect descriptor for this. Because when you're down in a maze, every dead end feels like a complete crisis.
You're just blindly running into walls.
Right. But the energy of Sagittarius lifts you out of the labyrinth and places you on the balcony above it. You aren't learning new information.
You're just seeing the layout.
Yes, you're finally seeing the pattern of the walls. The confusion dissipates because the truth was always there.
That is so true. And once that mental fog lifts and you see the pattern from the balcony, it naturally spills over into how we communicate.
Big time.
The guide gets very specific about the throat chakra essentially blowing wide open. This is event 7 in the timeline.
Mm.
You might find yourself just blurting out truths you've held back for months, maybe even years.
Which can feel terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the underlying logic the text presents is that the emotional cost of your silence has officially outweighed the cost of your honesty.
You literally reach a biological and energetic tipping point.
Mm.
Holding the truth in becomes more physically painful than dealing with the fallout of speaking it.
Okay, but I have to push back on this a little bit.
Go for it.
Because blurting out years of withheld truth sounds like a recipe for absolute disaster in our day-to-day lives.
It can be, if you're not careful.
Like, are we supposed to just bulldoze our partners, our bosses, our families with all these sudden revelations? Because radical honesty can very quickly become an excuse to just be a jerk.
That distinction is so crucial, and it's a nuance the guide actively addresses. Honesty without kindness is just brutality.
Exactly.
Your job doing this portal is not to be cruel. And it certainly isn't to try and control how the other person reacts to your truths.
So what's the point then?
The goal is internal self-alignment. You speak the truth to stop betraying yourself with your own silence. It's about drawing a boundary, not wielding a weapon.
Oh, that makes sense.
If you are speaking to punish someone, that's just ego. If you are speaking because your body physically cannot carry the lie anymore, that's the Sagittarius energy.
That reframes it completely. You are speaking to honor your own reality, regardless of whether the other person applauds you for it.
Precisely.
And speaking of our internal reality, the guide highlights that our subconscious is going to be incredibly loud during this window. Event 5 talks about dreams.
Yes, the veil thinning.
Right, because the veil thins during rare lunar events like this, our dreams are going to shift. They won't just be those, random neural misfires where you're at a grocery store with your 3rd grade teacher.
Right, the nonsense dreams.
Yeah, they will feel like literal downloads.
The neural pathways during a portal like this are highly sensitized. These dreams are fragments of that balcony view we just talked about. They're being processed while your conscious defenses are down for the night. So the practical advice here is vital: keep a notebook by your bed.
Just to catch them.
Write down every fragment the second you wake up,
Yeah.
no matter how disjointed or nonsensical it feels in the moment.
So you just capture the raw data.
Exactly. Don't sit there trying to analyze it at 3 a.m.
Right, you'll just make yourself crazy.
The promise the guide makes is that by June 15th, those seemingly random fragments are going to naturally assemble themselves into a cohesive, understandable picture. The puzzle pieces will fit together, but, you have to actually collect them first.
Collect them first. I love that. And it's fascinating that this mental clarity, the sudden realization of the truth, the intense dreams, the urge to speak up, it demands a physical response.
Always.
Once your mind updates its operating system, your environment suddenly feels wildly out of sync. The guide notes that Sagittarius energy doesn't just sit still and reflect. It's a fire sign.
It is.
It burns. Which brings us to the urge to purge, event 2.
And remember, healthy fire in an ecosystem doesn't destroy indiscriminately.
Right, it's purposeful.
A forest fire clears out all the dense, dead underbrush so that the giant trees can actually drop their seeds and new life can grow.
Wow.
During these 3 days, you are likely going to feel an aggressive, sudden urge to declutter your emotional and spiritual space.
The examples the text gives hit so close to home for me, like deleting old phone numbers, quietly leaving group chats, walking away from draining commitments without making a big confrontation out of it.
Yes, just letting it go.
It's not a tantrum, it's like deleting those bloated background running apps on your phone.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
You know, the ones that are constantly tracking your location and draining your battery, but you never actually open them.
And think about what happens to your phone when you finally delete them. The battery life instantly extends, the processor speeds up, your phone stops overheating.
It works the way it's supposed to.
Exactly. That is exactly what is happening to your nervous system during this portal. By quietly dropping those draining commitments, you suddenly regain the energetic bandwidth you didn't even realize you had lost.
Yeah.
You don't need to post a manifesto on social media about leaving the group chat. You just silently uninstall the app to save your own life force.
But the universe loves a test.
Oh, doesn't it always?
As soon as you create this beautiful, newly emptied space, things try to rush back in to fill it. Event 3 warns about unexpected messages.
This is a big one.
Your phone lights up, and suddenly you are hearing from an ex, an estranged family member, or maybe a friend you drifted away from years ago.
Yep, out of the blue.
And the text notes this could be a genuine bridge being rebuilt. It could be closure or it could be a trap.
Right.
How on earth are you supposed to know which one it is in the moment?
Well, you have to run it through the ultimate Sagittarius filter, which is absolute truth, not nostalgia.
Oof, nostalgia is powerful though.
But nostalgia is a liar. It remembers the highlight reel and completely forgets the reason the relationship ended in the first place.
So true.
When someone from your past reaches out during this hypercharged window, you have to pause. You have to ask yourself, does this person actually align with who I am right now, today?
Right.
Or are they just subconsciously feeling the energetic ripples of this portal and reaching out for something familiar?
Truth, not nostalgia. That is going to save a lot of people from sliding backward this week.
Oh, what's up?
And while you are fielding these texts and clearing out your emotional clutter, your physical body is going to rebel. Event 4 is physical restlessness.
Oh yeah, the pacing.
The guide describes a profound physical restlessness. You might feel literally claustrophobic sitting at your own desk, or even just in your own living room.
Like you need to escape.
It's this deep cellular itch to move, to drive, to walk somewhere completely new because the answer just isn't inside those four walls anymore.
The physical environment feels too small because your energetic footprint is rapidly expanding.
I love how you phrase that.
Your body is just mirroring what your soul is going through. Sagittarius rules forward momentum. It rules travel. So when the mind decides it's time to move on, the body instinctively wants to start walking.
There is a comment highlighted in the source material. It's from a reader named David that perfectly captures the panic this can cause.
Yes, David's comment is so relatable.
He wrote in saying he was feeling incredibly angry, restless for absolutely no reason, and had this overwhelming urge to just run away from his life.
Right.
He literally asked, "Am I having a breakdown?"
And the author's response is the thesis of this entire experience.
Yeah.
They told David, it's not a breakdown, it's a breakout.
A breakout.
The container you built for yourself 6 months ago is simply too small for who you are today.
Changing that vocabulary from breakdown to breakout fundamentally shifts how you experience the physical discomfort.
It really does. It validates the anxiety. Outgrowing your own life is incredibly uncomfortable.
Yeah, it hurts.
Think about a snake shedding its skin. It goes blind for a few days before the old skin peels off. It feels completely vulnerable. But it's a biological necessity, not a malfunction.
So the old skin is shedding. We've cleared the emotional clutter. We've spoken our truth. We've paced the floors.
We've done the
What happens to all that newly emptied space? Because nature abhors a vacuum. If we aren't filling it with nostalgia and texts from exes, what actually comes in?
This is where Event 6 comes into play.
The text points to the tug of an old passion. You might feel a sudden magnetic pull toward a hobby, a dream, or an interest that you abandoned a long time ago.
And usually we abandoned it because it wasn't deemed practical.
Right, like art or writing.
Exactly. We drop these things to pay the bills or be responsible. But the guide is adamant about this. That old passion wasn't just a phase you went through, it was a blueprint.
A blueprint.
You were given that specific interest for a reason. And this blue moon is telling you it's time to dust off the architectural plans and start building again.
Which perfectly sets up the culmination of this energy. By the time May 31st wraps up, after all the fire and the sudden clarity, a very subtle, profound shift occurs. Event 8.
The quiet knowing.
Yes, the quiet knowing. It's not a loud parade. It's like a door that has been cracked open for months, letting in a cold draft, just quietly clicking shut.
Yeah.
An ache softens. It's the definitive realization that the old chapter is finally truly over.
The desire to go back is just gone.
Completely gone.
And to help navigate the turbulence leading up to that quiet knowing, the guide provides a highly practical 4-step survival protocol.
Let's go through it. Step 1 is creating space. You must actively cancel draining or non-essential obligations during these 3 days.
Protect your calendar fiercely.
Step 2 is moving the body. And the astrological reasoning here is just fascinating. The archetype of Sagittarius is the centaur, half human, half horse.
Right.
Because of that, Sagittarius energy specifically governs the hips, the thighs, and the legs. So walking, dancing, running, or even just going for a long drive isn't just exercise.
No, it's not.
It is literally metabolizing the astrological transit through your physical form.
Which brings us to step 3, the purge.
Okay.
You need to write down every single truth that surfaces in your mind.
Yeah.
Do not edit it for politeness.
Filter.
Do not judge it. Just get the poison out of your system and onto the paper.
And then comes step 4. Here's where it gets really interesting. Step 4 is arguably the most critical piece of advice in the entire text. Give it 48 hours.
Yes.
Make absolutely zero permanent, life-altering decisions until June 1st or 2nd.
That rule is a lifesaver.
I cannot emphasize enough how brilliant this rule is. It imposes a mandatory, energetic cooling off period. You are going to feel a massive rush of clarity, and the temptation to act on it immediately will be overwhelming.
Oh, you'll want to fix everything right then and there.
Exactly. But this rule says write the life-changing resignation letter, but do not hit send. Draft the breakup text, but do not hit send.
Yeah, wait.
Do not pack your car and move to a new city while the portal is open. You feel the truth, but you delay the execution.
Because the shadow side of Sagittarius fire is deep impulsivity. And the archetype of the archer is unforgiving in its finality. Think about the mechanics of a bow and arrow. You draw the string back, you aim, and you release.
Right.
Once that arrow leaves the bow, it flies all the way to the target. It cannot be unshot.
It's permanent.
The changes being illuminated for you right now are meant to be permanent. Therefore, waiting for the cosmic gust to settle for 48 hours isn't a sign of hesitation or self-doubt.
What is it then?
It's a sign of profound wisdom. You are taking a breath to ensure your aim is perfectly true before you let the string go.
So if you manage to surf this wave, if you honor the urge to clear the underbrush, if you capture your dreams in a notebook, if you move the restless energy out of your hips, and most importantly, if you observe that 40-hour cooling off period, what was the actual tangible payoff?
The somatic payoff.
Right. The guide details a very specific somatic state you will experience by the time you wake up on June 1st.
And it's so rewarding. The physical reward for not betraying yourself is a literal lightening of the body. When you sit in that uncomfortable floodlight and allow the truth to surface, your parasympathetic nervous system finally gets to stand down.
It can finally rest.
That persistent tight knot in your stomach that you've been carrying around for 6 months, it loosens. The subconscious tension locking your jaw just softens.
And your shoulders.
Your shoulders, which have been living up around your ears since last December, finally drop.
The phrase the author uses that I just can't stop thinking about is that you will look in the mirror and see someone who looks younger in hope.
Younger in hope. It's beautiful.
What an incredible concept. It doesn't mean the work is magically over or that life is suddenly devoid of challenges.
No, life continues.
But the heavy, ill-fitting armor you've been dragging around is gone. You will simply be lighter.
You've survived the breakout. The new skin finally fits.
As we wrap up our analysis of this portal, I want to leave you with a thought to mull over, building on that incredibly powerful metaphor of the archer.
Okay. The guide is very clear that right now, the archer is taking aim. The tension is high, the string is pulled taut, and the arrow is about to leave the bow, flying rapidly toward its target.
Yes.
But consider this. What if the target that arrow is flying toward isn't external at all? What if the bullseye isn't a new job, a new romantic relationship, or a new city? What if the ultimate target is simply the truest, most unfiltered version of you?
Wow.
The version you have been secretly, quietly building underground for the last 6 months? Are you ready to finally meet them?